Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello and welcome to this episode of our show. This is your host, Keith Doherty. Today our special guest is top real estate agent Denise McKinley of RE/MAX Town & Country based out of Orlando, Florida. Denise has been a realtor in Orlando, Florida for the last 12 years and worked with RE/MAX Town & Country in Oviedo, Winter Springs for 10 years. She works as a single agent with one full-time assistant. She has closed 75 homes a year for the last 3 years, making her the top agent in the office and the 12th agent in that region of Florida. She's also been coached by Mike Ferry and or Tom Ferry for the last 10 years. She started a networking group called Four Corners Networking and is based on networking with people who live in the same area she does. She belongs to the Rotary and will help Habitat for Humanity, Women Build, and donate to many nonprofits in the area. She's a premier Zillow agent and Realtor.com agent. She has been named one of the top 100 hot realtors in Orlando and featured in the Orlando Magazine for 5 years. She's a 5-star rated realtor and everyone should look at her reviews on Zillow. Her business has always been approximately 60% sellers and 40% buyers. She helps a seller by setting them up with a stager if needed, and she actually pays for it. She gets professional photographers, and she does drone photography if needed because the internet is your first showing. She also markets every way she can possibly by investigating tons of social media, internet signs, print, and open houses, and more. She has her luxury selling certification and her negotiation certification along with others. Her daughter, Kristine, has joined her team just 60 days ago, and they're now the Gold Key Realty Team with RE/MAX. She's doing great with buyers and has made a buyer's information package. All right, with all that said, Denise, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me on the show today, Keith.
Denise, if we could start for our listeners, what led you into real estate? Was it something that you always knew you wanted to do, or did you maybe stumble into it?
I really kind of stumbled into it. I was in the medical field, and we were in San Diego, and my husband's a Navy pilot, but he was flying for Southwest, and Orlando opened their domicile. So we moved out here, and my neighbor was a builder, and he said, Denise, why don't you get your real estate license and you can come to work for me? So that's kind of how it started.
It's kind of funny how we've done quite a few, I think well over 75 interviews on our show here, and it's interesting that it seems like, real estate agent, even though it's a rewarding career, it's obviously a financially beneficial, but a lot of people, it just, it doesn't seem to be the normal, if you ask a child, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? Not too many kids are going to be like, I want to be a real estate agent, it just doesn't seem to have that same connotation to it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about some of the personal attributes, traits, or qualities that you think have most contributed to the success you've had in real estate?
I think a good work ethic, perseverance, staying with it, getting along well with people, that's very important, and not being scared to talk to people.
And do you think you could give our listeners an example of when your traits have played a role in your path towards success?
Well, I'm not scared to pick up the phone and call people. Some people get really scared to call their past clients. It's really funny. Or even to call expired listings or for sale by owners. But I'm like, don't take it personal. If they, don't want to talk to you, you hang up and you just call the next one.
I think that's a great point for our listeners that, I think, real estate obviously specifically, but any type of sales position or any position at all that a lot of times you just have to get through the no's at some point and don't take it personal. The person doesn't know you. You find a number, you find it for sale by owner, you give them a call, they're like, hey, I don't want to talk to you, goodbye. Okay, they don't even know you. So
yeah, exactly.
I think that's a great attitude to have, that you don't take it personal, and you just, okay, I got, if anything, it's one step closer to a yes coming, and that's kind of how I like to look at it.
That's true. I agree with you there.
Denise, I think with all success, comes people usually have trials and issues getting there. Not everything's usually just, oh, hey, I got my license and I woke up with a briefcase of $1 million in the other room, and just, even though people think it happens that way for a lot of agents, obviously we realize there's a road to get there. So can you talk about some of the adversities or trials that you had to overcome in order to achieve your goals and have the success that you've had?
I really think your morning schedule in real estate is so important. We call that our money-making time. And if you can just clear your schedule in the morning, get up in the morning at the same time every morning, get your workout in, get into the office at the same time every day, and get your phone calls made in the morning, that morning schedule, that will, drive me forward more than anything else I can think of. I also was a little bit controlling. I gave my assistant a lot of work, but I didn't really want a buyer's agent, and I really think I had all the business I could get with just me and her. So bringing my daughter on has just helped me out tremendously too, and that's going to really help me grow.
Excellent. I think a couple of good points there, like you said, kind of having a set schedule, where you actually, okay, I'm going to come in and during this time frame, I'm going to, perform activities that are going to help move my business forward. And I think the other thing you said there was important was, delegating or being able to release a little bit of control, and so you can focus on maybe more of the growing aspect and the vision versus, maybe some of the day-to-day basic stuff,
Absolutely.
like you said.
Right. Absolutely right. Mm-hmm.
So when you hit an obstacle or you have a trial or one of these adversities that comes up, what keeps you going? Why don't you give up?
Because I really like helping people find houses. It's very rewarding. And I allow myself to be mad for 5 minutes. And then you just got to get over it. And really the more that you've got that you're working on, that one deal that doesn't go through isn't going to devastate you.
And I guess kind of looking forward, what's your vision for your career and your business over the next 5 years?
That's a good question. It's exciting to have my daughter working with me. She's learning so much, and I actually learn a lot from her too. So that's the good news. And we're having a lot more meetings. I really think we're going to grow our team with another administrative person, and I can see us probably doubling our business within the next 5 years.
Excellent. I guess kind of on top of that, what do you feel is the best way that you market yourself as a real estate professional so you can have continual growth?
I keep in touch with my past clients, and my past clients are really the most important thing to me because they can give me great referrals. And when you get a referral, that speaks so much more than getting somebody, a for sale by owner. That's a lot harder, somebody that doesn't know me. So if I've done a great job for a buyer or seller, and if they can refer me, so I really stay in contact with them. I treat them to Jeremiah's Gelato once a month. Once a year I have this huge party. I just try to really give back to my clients that have given me business and let them know I appreciate them.
I think another great point for our listeners, what you said there is kind of whether it's real estate or any business, but staying front of mind. And whether it's, like you said, give them a little token, once a month or once a year, kind of having a get together to just refresh their mind that, hey, I'm still here, I'm still in real estate. And if you know anybody, I'd be happy to, help them out. So I think that's great advice for everybody.
Exactly. I've talked to a lot of people and they'll say, well, I had a realtor sell me a house 5 years ago. And I'm like, well, who was it? And they just cannot remember. They can't remember their name. They can say, and they can't even remember what company they were with sometimes. So, if you're not calling your clients and keeping up with them, somebody else is. So you've got to really do that and keep it consistent.
Absolutely. And I think, Denise, sometimes when it comes to agents, I joked a little earlier about, you get your license and, wake up with a briefcase of cash. And I think sometimes the general marketplace may think that of an agent. They have some misconceptions. So what do you think the biggest misconception or myth people have about working with a real estate agent is?
The misconception that people have about us that we get lucky or we don't, we just put a sign in the yard and we walk away. And some agents do that. That's true. But really, 20% of the agents are doing 80% of the work here and as a realtor. So not agents are all like that. So there are miscommunications, but I think people that have worked with an agent and they do a good job, they realize how hard we do work for them. We have to jump through a lot of hoops, and it seems like I've learned something new on every closing I have.
And let's say you get a call from a family member or friend, and they're in another state, and they basically want to sell their home. So what advice would you give them about selecting an agent that could best serve their needs? Kind of how you take care of your clients, and obviously we know, being in the business, you could potentially do a referral to your company and things like that. But in general, what kind of questions or things would you tell them to look for in selecting a good agent?
I would tell them to pick somebody that lives in their area, that knows their area well, somebody that uses a professional photographer, because really people look, the first showing is on the internet, have great pictures. Make sure your house is clean windowsill clean, everything clean, and it doesn't hurt to bring in a stager. They don't have to stage your whole house, but if they can help you maybe declutter or move things around, if you can get somebody emotionally involved in your house, you're going to get top dollar on your house.
Excellent. And Denise, if somebody's looking for real estate services, obviously in the Central Florida, Orlando area, what is the best way they can find out more about you and how you can help them?
Well, they could go to my Facebook page or my website, which is denisesalesorlando@gmail.com or denisesalesorlando.com. And they can also call me at 407-625-0635.
Okay, excellent. And Denise, obviously we want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come here today and share all of your professional real estate experience with our listeners. And if you're listening and you want to learn more about Denise and how she can help you can obviously visit her site like she mentioned. Also below this interview, we'll have a link to her site and any other contact information so that you can easily find out more about her and how she can help you. So with that said, everybody, until our next show, have a great day and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Keith.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.